welcome everybody to the Healing Place podcast. I'm your host, Teri Wellbrock, and just wanted to talk to you for a moment before the show. I'm very excited about today's episode. But this week I have been doing a podcast seminar, and wow, have I learned a lot. So going to be adding some amazing series. I had already, even before doing the seminar, reached out to some healers here on Hilton Head Island in South Carolina, where I live, and wanted to do a Healers of Hilton Head series. So that will be coming up along with some other series, and just adding some more perks for listeners, for all of you. This show again continues to blossom globally, 114 countries now, and the top 2.5% globally out of 2.8 million podcasts, thanks to you. And I'm just giving you all big, giant hugs of gratitude. And so I just want to continue to offer even more healing strategies and ideas and options for you. So that's all coming along. I know I had talked about working with a previous podcast guest on some coaching services. So that's coming up. Just a lot of wonderful things in the works to help all of you, whether you're a trauma warrior on your own healing journey or a trauma advocate helping others along their healing journeys. I just am going to start again offering even more resources to help you reach that place of healing. So, all right. Such a great episode coming up now. Thanks. Welcome, everybody, to the Healing Place podcast. And my heart is happy today to have Leigh Hearl with me. And I'm going to read an intro to you because it's just amazing. And I'm so excited for this conversation. Leigh Hearl is a fiercely determined and energetic woman who is the founder of Meg Heart, a successful business owner, author, TEDx speaker, wife, and mother. Leigh also had a painful secret. Hiding it nearly destroyed her. Consumed by shame, self-doubt, and despair, it was only when she broke her silence that her broken heart began to heal. She realized how many people lock their painful secrets deep down inside, soldiering on in silence and never able to move on from traumatic experiences. The simple act of sharing her story set her free, so she decided to help others, founding Meg Heart. So welcome, Leigh.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here today.
Oh, we just were talking before I hit record that, yes, as many of my listeners know, I carried that secret and lots of secrets, sadly,
Yes.
from my childhood into my 30s. I was in my late 30s when I finally said, it's time to set this free. And wow, did it start to resonate with friends and family when I put it out on social media.
Yeah,
So yeah.
definitely. Well, that's great. Well, can I tell you, I was in my 40s
Oh my gosh.
when
Yeah.
I said to a girlfriend, I need to tell you something. So it can be, yes.
Yes. Well, my mom, an alcoholic my entire childhood, and in her 80s, I remember standing at the base of her hospital bed and saying, Mom, I think it's time you start to heal your trauma. And she just opened up about horrific things she had been through as a child that I had, and she was in her 80s. So yes, people carry it. They carry these secrets
They
for far
carry
too
it.
long.
Yes.
So your work focuses, I mean, you offer a wonderful platform to help others
Yes.
share their secrets.
Yes. And that's why I created Meg Heart, was to help people break their silence safely in a safe environment. And really, it came from me keeping a very painful secret. And what silenced me was I was riddled with shame. And often it's the shame that silences us and, keeps us quiet. And so I don't know, I think I want to explain secrets maybe a little bit to you, if that's okay. So,
Absolutely.
So the business school in Columbia did some research on secrets, and they found that the average person has 13 secrets. So we all have secrets. But those secrets can be all different types of secrets. They can be innocent ones from our childhood when we were naughty, smoking in behind the school gym, all sorts of things, but or an innocent holiday romance. But there are some secrets that weigh heavy on us, and that even with the passing of time, they're not forgotten. And it's those secrets that weigh heavy on us that cause us the most damage. And how that occurs is by, it's not actually the secret itself, but it's how often the mind wanders to that secret. So mind wandering leads to rumination, and rumination is really the seeds for depression, anxiety, and even suicidal thoughts. And that's what happened to me. And it wasn't until I finally broke my silence and confided in a really close girlfriend and said to her, I need to tell you something, that I started to really feel that weight lift. And I started to shift the shame to where it belonged. And then I started to make decisions I should have made a long time ago because I could think clearly. And I also had the support of people around me. And so that's how I started my healing journey. And once I got to a really good place, I started to look around and see so many people are suffering in silence, and I just knew I needed to do something.
Yeah,
So,
I love what you said about shift the shame.
yes,
That's a really important part of this.
yeah. Oh, most definitely. And I can't stress it enough how damaging, and especially when there's a perpetrator. And this is the really important thing, because often, especially perpetrators, how they operate is they put that shame, guilt, and fear they instill in you. That's what keeps you silent.
Yes.
And you should not carry those. That shame should not be on your shoulders. It's not your shame to bear. It should be at the feet of the perpetrator, and that's where it needs to be placed. And but it takes so much courage to finally break your silence. So this is what I want to speak out about and reach people so they really understand and can see that until you break your silence, you can't even start your healing journey. You can't. You will just stay, on that trauma roller coaster, and you'll just keep going around and around. So it's so important to take that first step and break your silence.
Yes. Oh, I mean, I say it all the time, whether it's through writing, whether it's through
Yep.
talking, whatever medium you decide to utilize, it's true that there's just a weight. I remember the first time I put something out, I could just feel just that weight just lift off of me.
Lift. Exactly. And I also remember too, and this is what I like to tell people, because even for people who are those support people that haven't gone through these traumatic events, but someone comes to you and confides in you, it's really important to understand that when you've been living with this trauma, and for some people it might have been recently, or for other people like yourself and myself, we've been carrying it for years. You are so consumed with these feelings and what have you, that you can't think clearly. And as a support person, you might be able to see clearly and go, you need to leave that marriage, you need to get out. But for the person who's going through it, they can't see clearly until they start talking about it and breaking their silence, because then they can start processing things. And it's really important for the support person not to try and fix that person. It's really important to just sit and listen and be present and be there, because when you disempower them if you're trying to fix them, it's really, really important for them to be empowered, and they will get there. But they've got to go through a process to get there.
Yes.
And when they're empowered to make their own decisions, to make those choices that they need to make, that's when you start to see them on their healing journey, if that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely. So I was just going to say what wise words you're sharing right now, because I know with my own children, oh, how I want to wave that magic wand and fix it and kiss their boo-boo and make
Yes,
it better, right?
yes.
But
And
I
then,
have learned to say, you know what? I can't, I'm just going to sit and listen and just ask questions and say, well, what are your plans? How do you
yeah,
want it to turn out? What do you think you can do? Like, just to help guide them, because they're the
yes,
ones that have to do it.
yeah. Oh my God. Well, you've got to read our book, our first book, because it's a true story about Rose. And Rose brings you in to that, and really shows you the raw, true emotions of a parent struggling to save the life of her child, and her realizing. So, what happens in the story is she discovers her daughter overdosed on sleeping tablets trying to end her life. And what she doesn't realize is that her daughter had been carrying a secret that had been tormenting her for years. And it's when they peel back the layers and uncover the secret that Rose really needs to learn that she can't fix her daughter. If anything, it's, making it worse by her trying to fix her. So it's a really, wonderful story, and great for any parents out there.
Oh, wonderful. I'll make sure to put links to it, so people can,
Yes.
yes, purchase it. And there it is. Yay.
Yes.
Awesome. Yes. I'll put that in show notes, everyone.
Yeah. Great.
Wonderful.
So
Yes.
yes, it's so important, and it's really hard as parents. We always go to fix it mode, and it's very disempowering for your children, especially your teenagers. So
Yeah,
we
for
need to
sure.
just be present and support them.
Yes. So now can you share a little bit of your journey?
Yes, yep, definitely. So I was married young. I had 3 beautiful children, and I discovered that my husband was leading another life. And I was, I have to take you back to my childhood. I was raised in a family where you don't bring any shame to the family. And it's all about what we look like and how we're perceived in society. And so I was riddled with shame, guilt, and regret. And I was in fear of my children being ashamed and what it would do to them. And so I made the choice of staying silent. And what that did was really made me more vulnerable to the emotional abuse within the marriage. And it wasn't until I was spiraling down into the deep depression and suffering anxiety. And it wasn't until I started having the suicidal thoughts that I realized I needed to break my silence. Because I decided my children, even though I felt like the worst mother in the world and the worst person and the worst wife, and that I didn't deserve love, I didn't deserve anything, I realized that my children deserve so much more. So I decided to break my silence, and that's where my healing journey began.
Beautiful. Well, I'm so sorry that you went through that, but kudos
Oh,
to you for
Yeah.
having the courage to break your silence and
Mm.
doing that for your children. I
Yeah.
remember sitting in a therapist's office when my boys were teenagers with one of them, and the therapist said to me, "Why did you stay?" And I said, I remember sobbing and saying, "Because I thought it was the loving thing to do. And I
Yes.
thought I was doing the right thing by
Yes.
staying and trying to make this image of what seemed, the beautiful house and the cute Labrador dog and the little cul-de-sac community. And I thought I was doing the right thing in that choice."
Me too. And it's funny, if only I knew then what I know now. Children are so smart. They see
Right.
through it. And, what kind of example was I leaving, showing my children? And trauma is generational. If we don't deal with our trauma, we pass it on to our children. If we don't start to heal, we pass it down to them without even knowing we do. And it's so important. And that's why, like, I started to do it. I was doing it. I was leading a bad example to my children. They could see their mother spiraling down. I thought I was keeping things from them, but
Oh,
really, I wasn't showing them how to lead a healthy life,
right.
because even children need to learn at some stage that we are going to go through traumatic, stages in our life. Like, there are things that happen in life, and it's about showing them and leading by example and giving them the tools to be able to get through and heal.
Yeah.
And if we don't do it ourselves, how the hell can we show our children?
Right. Well, and what you're saying is really about empowerment. I mean,
Yeah.
yes, it's going to be difficult for them, but if you're empowering them uh,
Mm.
through what your example and through guiding them and offering them ways to make it through and deal with their trauma and process it, I mean, hugely empowering.
Oh, definitely. And it's so important, because unless we do that, it's just going to keep going down generation to generation,
Right.
and there's three big things. I call them the three pillars that underpin Meg Heart, which is, based on why I founded Meg Heart. And one is to, help people to break their silence safely. Two is to share their stories to inspire others to start their healing journey. And the third one is to publish those stories out to the world, so that can ignite the conversations that lead to positive change. Because unless we know what's really going on, how can we change as a society? And I then even want to take it one step further. If we don't start talking about this and really helping people to break their silence, like we're going to stay in this spiral with a mental health pandemic that we're facing. I don't know about you guys. Well, I know it's globally, but here in Australia, our suicidal rates are just ridiculous. It's terrifying. And unless we do something to change society, where we can raise our children to speak their truth and not be silenced, then I don't know how else we're going to start shifting things in the right direction.
Oh, I could not agree more. And it's heartbreaking and sad. And I mean,
Mm.
I just said this morning, another report came across of a student athlete suicide. And I just thought,
Mm.
what is going on that so many young people who have
Yeah,
such a bright future are taking their lives and feeling so hopeless?
yeah, it's absolutely shocking. And, you know, we also need to lift the lid, like in the book, Carbon Under Pressure, here in Australia, it lifts the lid on what's really going on in our mental health and our health system. Like, you know, she had to wait 3 months to get her daughter the help that she needed. And that was pre-COVID. We're talking, you know, several years ago, before COVID. Now it's just, you know, blowing out. You know, I'm hearing reports that it's taking over 12 months
Oh my gosh.
to get treatment. Yes.
Yeah, that's just
So,
unacceptable. I mean, truly, it's just
yeah,
unacceptable.
it is.
Especially
It
if
is.
you're struggling with mental health, you can't wait a year.
No. And, you know, we, you know, it's very important. You know, we still, you know, have, you know, great medicines and medical teams and that there for cancer and all sorts of other diseases. But mental health is a disease, and it's just as important because it's killing our babies, it's killing all of us. So,
Yes. But what you're offering, and I love the idea, and correct me if I'm wrong, but with your Meg Heart community, people can share their stories anonymously, correct? Because I know
yes,
there's a big part of it that, again, until we can shake loose of that shame part of it, it's scary to put it out there.
yes. So I knew when I'd healed, or was in a really good place, because I think you always continue to heal. Like I
Yeah.
think it's just one big long journey. But when I got into a really good place, I knew I wanted to do something to help people because I could see so many others. And it wasn't clear to me, but it wasn't until someone really close to me, and well, her name's Rose in the book, but until I stood by her and supported her in her healing journey, because what she went through was horrific, um, that I realized that Meg Heart needed to be created, because Rose, she went through and was doing writing to heal, which is what I did. So I guided her with the process I went through with healing. And we'd written this beautiful story with her, and said, you know, we really need to share this with the world. This needs to get out there. And so we got legal advice, and the lawyer came back and said, you can do three things. You can either not tell the story, or you can take parts in the story out, because there's laws in Australia that forbid people to speak out, especially victims, or you can tell it under a pseudonym. And that's when I went, this is it. This is it. So we created Meg Heart, and Meg Heart now is a platform for people to break their silence safely. We've got a wonderful team of people on board. We've got a great lawyer as well, as a writer. And what we do is we help people safely break their silence, but we also plan to bring more of these stories, real and raw stories, to the world, to help wake us all up and ignite those conversations.
Beautiful. And what,
So,
again, what a huge gift of
mm,
healing you're offering to
oh,
people.
so we're actually in the process of turning Medheart into the Medheart Foundation. So it'll be a not-for-profit, which we're so excited about. And we're also looking, we're designing writing to heal courses.
Oh my gosh.
So, which will be incredible, really, yeah, that we're able to offer to people. So watch this space. We're still in infancy, but yeah, we're
That's
definitely going to
wonderful.
get there.
Well, and the Healing Place podcast, I'm so excited, is in 112 countries now.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, which is so awesome. So can people from all over the world?
All over the world. All
Okay.
over the world. Yep. They just need to go to megheart.com and heart is spelled Heart. And just reach out to us, but and even subscribe to the newsletter, because that will keep everyone updated with our newsletter, but also when we've finished finalizing the Writing to Heal courses and things like that. So,
Yes.
which would be great.
Well, I know personally writing, again, it was, if you look, if I would pan the camera over to the corner, I'm going to do it just for my video people.
Yeah.
So my very messy office, but see the corner of my desk? Those are all journals. Those are journals.
Oh, wow.
So writing for me, I mean, it really is just cathartic and such a release. And now I'm making everybody dizzy watching the video.
So one of the things for me, I don't know about you, but when I was still going through the trauma, I really struggled because my therapist said to me, you need to write, and so many people told me, you need to write, Leigh. And I would write, but I would find myself, I'd get really churned up and become more traumatized. Like often it would trigger me. And so I really shunned away from it for quite a while. But it wasn't actually until I went through with a trauma psychologist, and she was absolutely incredible. And she gave me the tools to be able to help myself really get out of those difficult or those really traumatic feelings that would, you know how they come in waves and just be all consuming. And it was when I did that I realized, okay, I can start to write. And so what I started to do was I started to write, but I write from the heart. So when you write from the heart, your mind goes back to that event. And so it actually thinks you're in that traumatic event, which isn't so bad when you're ready, because what you can do is make peace with that event and really put it to bed, like I would go back to an event and I would actually hug myself, that Leigh, and then set her free. And it was like pulling out these thorns that had been in my side, festered and infected. And it was like pulling one out, one at a time, and then letting them heal. And it was so therapeutic. And that's what really, really set my healing off, and making peace with the past.
Yeah, I thank you for clarifying that you really do have to be ready and armed.
You've got to be armed, and that's why we're taking the time to really master this course, to make sure that it will really help people.
Wonderful.
Safely.
Yes. Right, exactly. So who's your target audience then?
Everyone.
I love it. And so many of my guests say that, because truly, who doesn't have a secret?
Yeah, it doesn't discriminate. Like, seriously. So it doesn't discriminate.
Right.
And really, I really would love to be able to get to a stage that we had corporate sponsorship to help sponsor people on the courses that, can't afford,
Right.
people that are really less fortunate. So I've got lots of dreams, but anyway.
I'm right there with you. I get it.
Yeah. So
there's so much possibility.
Yes, exactly. So baby steps, though.
Right. It'll happen.
Rome wasn't built in a day.
Right. Exactly. I know there was just another question that had popped into my head, and I know it was something that, we talked about, or in the questions that I had sent you. So is there anything that you wanted to, I don't want to say challenge listeners, but is there something, like one sage piece of advice you would give them for starting to step down that journey?
Yes, I would say, and I'm actually sitting here visualizing myself before I broke my silence. And I still remember it so vividly. And I felt like I just couldn't. I felt like it was a mountain that I just couldn't even begin to climb. And if there's one thing I could say to people who are in that position, it is just climb the bloody thing, because it's not going, and it, like, you will stay with that mountain right in front of you. You will never be able to set yourself free from the trauma until you face it and you break your silence. And there's so many ways you can do that. And please, if you can't find a trusted friend, a colleague, or a family member, even confide anonymously, but start to speak. Start to speak, because that shame is not yours. It is not yours to bear, and you need to let go of it and place it where it belongs.
Yes. Amen. And hallelujah. Because I'll say again, shifting that shame is just so needed to heal.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do folks get in touch with you? How do they connect with you?
Okay, so they can go to Medheart, HEART.com, and they can subscribe there to our newsletter so they can keep up to date, and also with things that are happening with Medheart. But they can also follow us on Instagram at Medheart Author, and also Facebook.
Wonderful. Awesome.
Which would
All
be
right.
great.
Well, this has just been so wonderful. And again, such beautiful words of wisdom. And thank you for what you're offering to folks as they find the courage to share their stories and release it.
Thank you so much. It's been such a privilege, and I feel so blessed.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. All right. Well, everyone, thanks for joining us today on the Healing Place podcast. And remember, until next time, be gentle with yourself. Thanks. Bye-bye. Hey, everybody. Teri Wellbrock again. Just wanted to thank you for listening to the episode today and remind you to visit my website as well as the academy.teriwellbrock.com for the courses. But if you go to my website, teriwellbrock.com, you can sign up for my monthly Hope for Healing newsletter, which is also jam-packed with information and strategies and blog pieces and guest blog pieces and links to shows. And just a great space for, again, healing and hope. Thanks for, again, being here and being a part of this healing space. I very much appreciate you. All right. Bye-bye.